Bro, imagine waking up thinking it's just another Tuesday tea, toast, scroll the phone, and boom, the entire United Kingdom is in full meltdown mode over one case. One girl, one betrayal. One story that pretty much turned into a cultural earthquake. And here's the wild part. This wasn't some mystery from the 1900s or a Netflix documentary about a forgotten village. No, this was now. 16-year-old Brianna Ghey, a teenager from Warrington, dancing on TikTok, chatting with friends, doing the normal being a kid stuff, and suddenly her name is everywhere, trending, debated, pulled into politics, pulled into parliament, pulled into TikTok drama, like the whole country pressed pause and said, what actually happened here? Boom, it gets even messier. Few teenagers are arrested. Life sentences drop. Documentaries come out. Politicians start arguing about gender during prime minister's questions while her mom is literally sitting right there. And TikTok? TikTok turns the whole thing into a firestorm, tributes, arguments, edits, think pieces like the algorithm doesn't know whether to cry or clap. And tonight, yeah, we're going straight into the center of it. Who Brianna was, how a so-called friend turned her life into a nightmare, why the trial shocked the entire UK, and how her mom is now trying to change the whole system so no other kid ends up where Brianna did. So buckle up, bro, because this isn't just a crime story. This is the case that broke Britain. Before the media turned her name into a battleground, before TikTok made her a trend, Brianna Ghey was just Brianna, 16 years old, from Birchwood, Warrington. Year 11 student who still had that I'm figuring life out but also trying to survive school energy we all know too well. And here's the thing you don't see on the hashtags. She was actually a sweet, slightly chaotic, very online kid, the type who'd blast music through cheap earbuds and dance in the kitchen like she's performing for the entire internet. Which, to be fair, she kinda was. Her TikTok had tens of thousands of followers. She danced, lip-synced, joked around, normal teen stuff. But behind all that, she had ADHD. She had autism. She struggled with anxiety and literally told people she didn't always notice danger even when it was right in front of her. That hurts later in the story, trust me. And yeah, she dealt with bullying, like real bullying. People making fun of her for being trans, for being different, for not fitting whatever box they wanted her in. Imagine being so empty inside that you harass a kid for existing. Couldn't be me, bro. But here's the twist nobody talks about enough. Brianna wasn't just online girl dancing to songs. She actually helped younger trans teens navigate things like healthcare, support groups, who to trust, who not to trust. She was doing more emotional labor at 16 than most grown adults do in a decade. She was a real person with dreams, insecurities, a TikTok account, a small circle of friends, and one friend who would turn out to be the absolute wrong one. And that's where the story flips, because the next person who walks into her life, yeah, that friendship was the beginning of everything going sideways. So Brianna has this friend, right? A girl her age named Scarlett Jenkinson, 15 years old, new to the school after getting transferred because she brought, wait for it, drug edibles to class. Yes, edibles in school. Boom, already a massive red flag. But Brianna, she's the kind of kid who tries to be kind to people who are a bit lost. So she lets Scarlett in. And for a minute, it looks normal, two teens chatting, hanging out, texting. Except twist, Scarlett is not exactly giving normal friend energy. This girl is binge watching serial killer documentaries like their comfort shows. She's taking notes. She's fascinated with violent cases. She's digging around dark websites. She's basically treating true crime like Pinterest boards, but in the worst possible way. And then here comes plot twist number 2. Scarlett becomes obsessed with Brianna. Not a crush, not admiration. More like, I want to control you, keep you close, and also plan your death energy. Yeah, that level. She calls Brianna different and really pretty. But behind the scenes, she's texting about wanting Brianna always with her. and not in a romantic way, in a token from the crime scene way. Boom, absolutely chilling. Oh, and here's the part that makes you sit back and go, bro, what? Before anything even happens in the park, Scarlett already tries to poison Brianna with ibuprofen. Not a prank, not a joke, an actual attempt to make it look like Brianna harmed herself. And Brianna gets seriously sick but survives. No one knows Scarlett did it yet. And then enters Eddie Radcliffe, also 15. Quiet, good grades, amateur kickboxer, but also big into knives. Like this dude goes on a family trip to Bulgaria and comes back with a hunting knife like it's a souvenir magnet. Together. They're like the worst duo you could ever imagine, an obsessed planner and a follower who wants to look cool but ends up helping create a nightmare. And Brianna, she's thinking she's hanging around new friends because she doesn't see danger the same way other people might. And these two take advantage of that. Their friendship with her was never about friendship. It was a setup, a trap, a plan that was being built for weeks while Brianna thought they were just teens hanging out. And the moment this trio walks into that park, everything changes. Okay, so here's where the whole story goes from weird friends to, bro, this is a full-on setup. It's the morning of the murder. Brianna wakes up thinking she's meeting her friend. Scarlett messages her super chill like, hey, come to Kolcheth later. Nothing suspicious on the surface. But behind the scenes, this girl has already tried poison once. She's got the obsession. She's got the knife guy. The plan is basically locked in. Brianna leaves her house, gets on a bus, texts her mom that she's meeting Scarlett. Boom, CCTV picks her up walking through town like it's just a normal Saturday. Because for her it was. She gets to the library bus stop. Scarlett and Eddie are waiting. The trio walks off together like nothing's wrong. Twist, Scarlett starts pretending she's texting a drug dealer. Except it's literally her. She's texting herself from another account like she's running a one-person crime franchise. She's like, yo bro, come meet us in the park. And Brianna is like, why does this dealer type like a teenager who failed English twice? Now here's the part that hits the hardest. Brianna knows something is off. She texts a friend basically. Scarlett is acting weird. I think she's lying about this dealer. Bro, when your friend is trying to make you believe a drug dealer is hiding in a public park on a Saturday afternoon, yeah, something's off. But Brianna keeps going because she doesn't want to cause drama. She trusts Scarlett. She thinks it's just strange teenage behavior, not an actual danger. The three walk deeper into Linear Park. Dog walkers see them. Nothing looks unusual. Just teens messing around. Then boom, minutes later, the same dog walkers see Scarlett and Eddie sprinting out of the woods, running, fast, heads down. And when the dog walkers go to check what happened, they find Brianna. They call emergency services immediately. But Scarlett and Eddie, gone. Phones off. Trying to clean up their story before the truth hits. This whole thing from text to CCTV to the last messages Brianna ever sent shows she felt the danger, but didn't believe her own gut. And that's the part that breaks you. So now we hit the courtroom, and this is where everything goes from something awful happened to, oh, this was planned. The trial kicks off in late 2023 at Manchester Crown Court. Both killers are 15 at the time. Because they're minors, the media calls them Girl X and Boy Y, at first like some budget superhero duo, but evil. Twist. Once they're convicted, the judge lifts anonymity. Boom, suddenly the whole country knows their names. Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Radcliffe. And the courtroom details. Bro, it's like peeling back layers on a really cursed onion. The prosecution starts dropping receipts. Scarlett's obsession found in her messages. The earlier poisoning attempt with ibuprofen. Eddie buying the hunting knife on a family holiday. Their texts talking about hurting people. Eddie dehumanizing Brianna because she was trans. Every new message is worse than the last. It's like they weren't living in reality, they were role playing a crime fantasy. Then comes the wildest twist. They immediately try to blame each other. Scarlett is like, oh no, it was just fantasy. Eddie did the actual thing. Eddie is like, no, she stabbed Brianna. I didn't think she was serious. Bro, imagine being in court for the most serious moment of your life, and the vibe is basically, no, you did it. No, you did it. Like a terrible group project where both people failed. The jury, they take less than 5 hours to come back. That's not just we agree. That's we didn't even need snacks to decide. Verdict guilty. Both of them. Life sentences. Scarlett gets a minimum of 22 years. Eddie gets a minimum of 20 years. And then the judge, who has clearly had enough, calls the whole thing sadistic in nature. Says Scarlett's motive was basically violence for the thrill, and Eddie, his motive included hostility toward Brianna's identity. You can feel the air in the courtroom get colder. This wasn't two teens who snapped. This was weeks of planning, a digital trail of obsession, and a real person caught in their fantasy world. And while the country is trying to process that, the internet is already gearing up to explode. So the trial ends, and the internet basically goes, all right, everybody, let's set this story on fire. Because the second Brianna's name hits the headlines, TikTok does what TikTok always does, it becomes a whole emotional tornado. First, people who actually knew her post tributes, friends crying, edits with soft music, candles, vigils, people standing in Warrington holding signs. Even Dublin holds a vigil. The whole vibe is, this kid deserved so much better. Then boom, the GoFundMe for Brianna's family crosses £100,000. Strangers are donating. Creators with millions of followers are posting about her. TikTok basically adopts her memory. But here comes the twist. The internet doesn't stay wholesome for long. Suddenly you've got random accounts posting theories. People arguing about politics. Comments going wild. People trying to explain the case even though they clearly skimmed half a headline and got the rest from vibes. And then, because of course the documentaries start dropping. First big one. Brianna, a mother's story, a TV doc following her mom Esther. Emotional, raw, heartbreaking. Second doc. TikTok, Murder Gone Viral, the killing of Brianna Ghey. This one leans into the internet angle, the trends, the reaction, the outrage, the speed at which her case spread. Both documentaries hit at the same time. Boom, mainstream TV meets TikTok culture, and suddenly every feed is Brianna, Brianna, Brianna. And the reactions? Bro, mixed is an understatement. Some people say, this brings awareness, this honors her memory. Others say, why does it feel like TV execs rush to package a murdered teen for content? Because yes, TikTok can be messy, but network TV can be its own kind of messy too. And you know the internet loves to argue. So now the conversation isn't just about Brianna. It's about how society treats trans kids, how fast the media moves, how TikTok turns real tragedy into trending audio. The whole case becomes bigger than the case itself. When your story becomes a hashtag, a news segment, and a trending dance audio.
Yeah, the world is officially doing too much.
And while all of that chaos is happening online, Brianna's mom steps forward alone, grieving, and decides she's not letting this become just another internet storm. While the whole internet is arguing, documentaries dropping, TikTok spiraling, politicians shouting Brianna's mom, Esther Ghey steps forward like, okay, enough, we're actually fixing things. And bro, she does not play around. Esther doesn't vanish after the sentencing. She doesn't hide. She doesn't stay quiet. She does the opposite. She becomes the strongest voice in the entire conversation. First move. She launches Peace in Mind UK, a campaign to get mindfulness and emotional health programs into schools. Not just Warrington, she wants it nationwide. Because she knows what kind of pressure young people are under, especially kids dealing with bullying or online abuse. Next move. She goes straight after the thing that made Brianna vulnerable: social media. Boom, she calls for a ban on social media for kids under 16. Not limit screen time, not parental controls. Nah, she's going full. These apps are a cesspit and kids' brains are getting cooked. Shut it down. And honestly, even if you don't fully agree with banning teens from TikTok, you get where she's coming from. Because the way the internet handled Brianna, the bullying, the pile-ons, the drama, it shows that something is seriously broken. Then she does something nobody expected. She writes a memoir called Under a Pink Sky. It's about grief, losing a child, and trying to forgive the unforgivable. Heavy, heartbreaking, but somehow still hopeful. And then the twist that hits harder than anything else. Esther meets with Eddie's mother, face to face. Two moms, two lives destroyed in totally different ways. And Esther chooses forgiveness, not revenge, not hate. Forgiveness. Bro, imagine having that level of emotional strength while the entire country is fighting over your daughter's name. This woman is trying to change school programs, change social media laws, change how kids communicate. Meanwhile, the internet can't even agree on what color a dress is. Wild. And just when Esther finally gets a tiny bit of national support, politicians do what politicians always do. They make it messy. Just when you think the country might finally unite over something tragic, politicians enter the chat and boom, everything falls apart. So picture this. It's February 2024. Esther Ghey, Brianna's mom, is invited to parliament because she's pushing for mindfulness programs in schools. She's sitting quietly in the public gallery, grieving, dignified, trying to make the world a slightly safer place for kids. Then Prime Minister's questions happens. And bro, PMQS is basically the UX version of a rowdy school debate where everyone has a title. Out of nowhere, the Prime Minister takes a jab at the opposition leader with a line about defining a woman in the same room where Esther is sitting. Like the timing could not be worse if they tried. Instant twist. The whole chamber gasps, half of Twitter melts, and the next morning every headline is basically, did he really just say that while Brianna's mom was watching? Then Starmer fires back like, she's here, show some respect. And suddenly the debate is no longer about mindfulness or safety or kids. It's about gender, culture wars, political point scoring, everything Brianna's story should not be reduced to. And the country, divided in seconds. One side is like, he was being disrespectful. The other, he's twisting it for political points. And the rest of us are sitting there like, bro, a grieving mom is literally right in front of you. Maybe stop turning tragedy into a soundbite? Because while Esther is talking about mental health, protecting teenagers, and fixing social media, politicians are arguing over a line that belongs in a Facebook comment section, not parliament. It's always wild how fast a real human tragedy becomes someone else's talking point. Like the political machine sees a grieving mom and goes, ah yes, let's use this moment to score whatever we score here. And just like that, Brianna's name becomes part of a national argument about identity, culture, politics, everything except the actual girl. Which brings us to the final piece of this story. So after all the trials, all the documentaries, all the TikTok storms, all the arguments in parliament, you're left staring at one simple, awful truth. A 16-year-old girl who just wanted to dance on TikTok, help her friends, and live her life. Never got the chance to grow up. And the craziest part? Her murder wasn't some random moment of madness. It wasn't a stranger in the night. It wasn't a mystery. It was two teenagers who built a fantasy world of violence online and then dragged a real person into it. A vulnerable girl who trusted too easily. A system that didn't protect her from bullying. An internet that can turn cruel in a heartbeat. And a media machine that sometimes forgets there's a human being behind the headlines. And there's the twist nobody sees coming, even after losing her daughter in the most brutal way. Esther, her mom, chose to fight for change instead of revenge. She chose compassion over anger. She chose forgiveness over hate. And she chose to spend the rest of her life trying to make sure some other kid doesn't end up a hashtag. Meanwhile, the country is still arguing, still picking sides, still debating identity, politics, TikTok, culture wars. Everything except the one thing that actually matters. A 16-year-old girl should have been safe. And here's the part that sticks with you long after the video ends. The killers wanted Brianna to be with them forever. To them, it was a twisted fantasy. But instead, Brianna is remembered by millions. Her story changed laws, changed conversations, changed entire communities. Her name became bigger than anything they ever imagined. They tried to take her life, but they ended up giving her legacy more power than they ever had. Haunting, right? Because in the end, the case that broke Britain is also the one that refuses to disappear.